Welcome back to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
We're here to take your source material, really break it down, and give you that fast track to, well, making some informed decisions.
And we're tackling a big one today, a really big one.
We are. It's the one area that seems to create immediate anxiety for just about every newcomer to the cloud.
Money.
Exactly. Money, how the economics actually work, and, who you're supposed to call when something inevitably goes wrong.
It's the part of the cloud journey that everyone, and I mean everyone, wants to just ignore.
Right.
But it's so critical for success. I mean, we're going to show you that understanding AWS pricing and support isn't just about finance. It's fundamental to your architecture.
That's a great point.
Because think about it. If you design the most brilliant, beautiful system in the world, but it drives the company into bankruptcy.
A failure. A functional failure.
Exactly. It's a failed design.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to help you really understand the core concepts of AWS pricing and support structures.
You can make good decisions right away.
And more importantly, avoid those really common, painful cost traps. We're not buying physical servers anymore. We're buying a utility on demand. And we have to get our heads around that distinction because it changes everything.
It really does.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, let's start with that fundamental philosophy because the way AWS prices its services, it dictates almost every strategic decision you're going to make later.
Right.
They move completely away from that old model. You know, the huge upfront capital expense of buying a whole rack of servers.
CapEx.
Gone. Instead, it's built around these three core pillars.
And the first pillar is the one everyone knows. It's the most radical change from traditional IT, pay-as-you-go.
It's such a simple, beautiful concept. There's no upfront cost, no minimum commitment for the base services.
You just pay for what you use.
You pay for what you use when you use it, and you stop paying the instant you stop. That's why businesses love the cloud's flexibility. You can scale way up for Black Friday.
And then scale right back down in January.
Exactly. It's the classic light switch analogy. You turn the server off.
The meter stops running immediately.
Immediately. You're not paying for idle hardware sitting in a dusty data center somewhere.
Okay, but then the second pillar seems to totally contradict that. Save when you commit. Why would a utility model want me to sign, like, a contract?
Because commitment from you means predictability for them.
Yeah.
And they reward that predictability very, very heavily.
All right.
If you can promise to use a specific amount of compute for, say, 1 or 3 years, AWS gives you these massive discounts because they can plan their own infrastructure much more efficiently.
And this is where we have to pause because there are two ways to do this, right? And it confuses people.
All the time.
We hear about reserved instances or RIs and then savings plans. What's the practical difference for you, the listener?
There is a vital one. Reserved instances, RIs, they're generally resource specific. You commit to, say, a specific EC2 instance family in a specific region.
So you're locked into that hardware choice.
Pretty much. But savings plans are the newer, much more flexible approach. You commit to spending a certain amount of money per hour on compute.
Ah, a dollar amount.
A dollar amount. And it doesn't matter if that compute is an EC2 instance, a Fargate container, or even a Lambda function.
So wait, if I commit with a reserved instance and a year into my 3-year plan, some amazing new CPU comes out, I could be stuck running obsolete tech.
That is the exact trade-off. That's the risk you take.
Right.
But savings plans, they just mitigate that risk beautifully because you're committing dollars, not specific boxes. So you can upgrade your instances. You can even switch from a virtual machine to serverless.
And you still get the discount.
You still get that huge discount as long as you hit your committed hourly spend.
Just how huge are we talking? What kind of discounts?
We're talking up to 72% off the on-demand price.
Wow.
It's monumental. It's like the difference between buying individual train tickets every single day for 3 years versus just buying the annual pass upfront.
Okay, that analogy makes perfect sense. If you know you're running a core database 247 for 3 years.
You're just leaving money on the table if you don't commit.
Yeah.
Vast amounts of money.
Right. And the third pillar I saw was, well, simple economies of scale, pay less by using more.
Exactly. As AWS grows, they get more efficient, they get better purchasing power, and they pass those savings back to you. It usually shows up as volume discounts.
Okay.
The classic example is S3 storage. The price you pay per gigabyte drops significantly once you pass certain thresholds. Storing 10 terabytes is one rate, but when you move up to 500 terabytes, the price for that additional data drops.
It rewards the heaviest users.
It really does.
Okay, so that's the philosophy of how they charge. Let's move from that high-level view to the practical reality. What are the fundamental cost drivers that you need to be watching?
What's fascinating here is that there are really three drivers of cost, and they're universal across almost every AWS service.
Okay.
You're fundamentally paying for compute duration, storage volume, and data transfer out.
Compute is how long the processor is running. Storage is how much data you're keeping on disk. But let's focus on that last one. Data transfer out, or egress. This seems to be the source of so many surprise bills. Why is egress the financial landmine here?
Because data egress, putting data into AWS, is almost always free.
They want your data.
They want your data in their ecosystem. But data egress, taking it back out to your users, back out to the internet, that costs money. You're using their global network.
Ah, the classic Hotel California model of cloud computing.
That's the one.
You can check in anytime you like.
But you definitely pay to leave. Precisely. And this is where architectural choices become cost choices.
How so?
Well, if you're serving, say, huge video files directly from your S3 buckets, those egress costs can quickly become more than your storage costs.
Right.
That's why services like CloudFront, their CDN, exist. Architecting your app to use a CDN often means cheaper egress rates. It connects right back to that theme. Cost is a design choice.
That is a powerful connection.
Okay, let's pivot to the thing that lures everyone in, the universally attractive but tricky free tier.
Ah, yes.
Everyone starts here, but I feel like confusing the categories is the fastest way to get a surprise bill.
You have to internalize that there are three flavors of free. Confusing them is dangerous. First is always free.
Okay.
These are small usage limits that never expire.
Right.
Like the first 1,000,000 Lambda requests a month or 25 gigs of DynamoDB. These are truly free, forever, safe.
And the second flavor, that's the one that sets the financial ticking clock.
That's the 12 months free tier. And this starts the second you create your account, whether you use it or not.
Right.
This is where you get the 750 hours of a T2.microEC2 instance. But the crucial warning is, this is only for your first year.
So if you launch a test server, you forget it's running, and it ticks over into month 13.
You are absolutely getting billed at the full on-demand rate. And if
Yeah.
you have a few of them running, that bill can sneak up on you really fast.
So don't assume your test instance is free in year 2 just because it was in year 1. Never assume that. And last one is just trials. Short term, maybe 30 days. To try a specific, usually more expensive service.
Okay, so is there a specific tool or mechanism you should set up immediately to avoid that nasty surprise when the 12-month clock runs out?
There is, and it's a perfect transition. You should immediately set up an AWS budget.
Okay.
Specifically target the services you're using in that 12-month free tier. Set the budget to $0 and turn on notifications.
Ah, so you get an alert the second any charges start to show up.
You get an immediate email or SMS. It's a lifesaver.
Excellent. We've established that we're paying as we go, so there's risk. We need those tools of vigilance. What does AWS give us to manage that risk?
They give you 2 major cost management tools, and they serve completely different functions. You have to know which one is the mirror and which one is the alarm.
Okay, let's start with the one that helps us look at the past.
That would be the AWS Cost Explorer. Think of it as your rearview mirror for financial data.
I like that.
It visualizes your historical spend, the last 12 months, and it can forecast the next 3. It's the tool for forensic accounting.
Yeah.
Why did our database spend double last Tuesday?
Right, for digging into the details.
It's for analysis, looking at graphs, figuring out what already happened.
And the second tool is for that proactive prevention we just talked about.
That is AWS Budgets. This is your alarm system. It's all proactive.
Okay.
You set a specific limit, a dollar amount. Say, I never want to spend more than $1,000 this month.
And it warns you.
It sends you a notification if you hit that limit, or, and this is key, if its forecasting predicts you will exceed that limit before the end of the month.
So the key difference, Cost Explorer is for debugging costs you've already incurred.
Right.
Budgets is for setting that alarm to get alerts before disaster strikes. I have heard some horror stories about this.
Oh, absolutely. I had a client once, they were experimenting with a machine learning model. They spun up this very specialized, very expensive GPU instance, and they just forgot to turn it off before going home for the weekend.
Yo.
No budget was set. They got a $2,500 bill on Monday morning for an idle machine that did 0 work. That was their expensive lesson in using budgets.
It's the cheapest insurance you can buy.
It really is.
All right, now that we know how to budget, let's talk about support. Something breaks, or you need expert advice. Who do you call? There are 4 main tiers.
And this hierarchy is vital.
Yeah.
The price jump between tiers is all about 2 things. How you can contact them, phone, chat, or email, and, most critically, the guaranteed response time.
So Tier 1, basic support. It's free. What does free actually get you?
It gets you 0 technical support.
Okay.
Basic is only for non-technical things like billing questions or account limit increases.
Yeah.
If your database goes offline, you are on your own with public documentation and forums.
So if I'm a student or just experimenting, I'd probably want to move up to developer support. That starts at what, $29 a month?
That's the first step for technical questions, yes. But it has serious limitations. Access is only during business hours, and communication is email only.
So if my app crashes at 2 a.m. on a Saturday.
You're waiting until Monday morning for a response, which is why the source material is so clear. This tier is absolutely not for production workloads.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, production needs 247 help. So that brings us to the business plan. Why is this one, at $100 a month minimum, the standard for most companies?
Because it meets those minimum enterprise standards. Business support gives you 247 access, 365 days a year, by phone, chat, or email.
And the response time?
The crucial point is the SLA. The guaranteed response time for an urgent system down issue drops to just 1 hour. That's essential for any company with customers depending on them.
And then there's the top tier, enterprise. The price jumps big here, a minimum of $15,000 a month. What does that buy you?
It buys you a dedicated human relationship. The centerpiece is the technical account manager, or TAM.
So not a random call center agent.
It's not at all. The TAM is a dedicated expert who understands your architecture, reviews your designs, and helps you plan launches. They are there to help you prevent problems.
Proactive support, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
What about the response time here?
For a critical business-stopping issue, it drops to a lightning-fast 15 minutes.
15 minutes, wow.
And you also get a support concierge team who are dedicated just to helping you navigate complex billing.
Okay, so to lock that in, basic is just billing. Developer is email only for experiments. Business is the first real production tier with 247 access and a 1-hour response.
And enterprise gets you that dedicated TAM and a 15-minute critical response.
Perfect. One final distinction that causes a lot of confusion, the difference between buying services and hiring help. AWS Partner Network versus the AWS Marketplace.
Completely different things. It's essential to keep them straight.
So let's start with the Marketplace.
The AWS Marketplace is just a digital catalog. Think of it like an app store for infrastructure software. You need a firewall from Splunk or a specific operating system. You go to the Marketplace, you subscribe, and it installs right into your AWS account.
So you're buying a tool, a piece of software.
Precisely. In contrast, the AWS Partner Network, the APN, is all about people and services.
So consultants.
Consulting firms, managed service providers, all certified by AWS. You hire these partners to help you build, migrate, or manage your environment.
Marketplace is buying a tool. APN is hiring an expert. That clears it up.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? We've covered the pricing pillars, the core cost drivers like that crucial data egress point, the difference between Cost Explorer and budgets, and the support tiers.
The golden rule takeaway from all of this, for anyone running anything in the cloud, is this. Cost is a design choice. It is not a fixed overhead.
I love that framing.
The cloud rewards the attentive user. If you launch resources and ignore AWS budgets, or if you aren't using optimization tools like Trusted Advisor, which comes with business and enterprise support,
You're just throwing money away.
you're actively throwing money away. Optimization isn't just a technical exercise. It is a core financial part of successfully operating in the cloud.
That concept cost is a design choice. That's what makes this so challenging, but also so rewarding. Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you, the listener. If you know, before you even write a line of code, that you can get up to a 72% discount when submitting upfront, how drastically would projecting that huge cost saving before design change the way you architect your entire solution?
It's a powerful question.
What would an immediate 72% discount mean for your business plan, and what strategic risks are you willing to take to get it?
Something to think about.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into AWS pricing and support. Until next time, keep learning and keep optimizing.